I did grant you permission to record.
Great. I think it's
Am
double
I not
recorded.
merciful, Matt? Am I not merciful?
You are merciful enough, my friend. Ah, all right. All right, we're back again for another Wet Ink Wednesday. We are halfway through the year. Incomprehensible fact. What is happening? Brandon, you got to make a noise or you won't be seen. Oh,
Oh no,
you didn't do it long enough. It doesn't matter.
I
You're
didn't
trying to
do
do
it long
laser
enough.
effects or whatever.
Lasers. Because, sometimes you just got to have lasers.
Sometimes you got to have lasers. That's coming soon in 2026. Sometimes you got to have lasers.
Sometimes
Um,
you got to have lasers.
uh, that's the secret for you folks. The great game starts with a great title. Um,
Accurate.
so we are here to start our quarterly third quarter conversation, our chat for the halfway through the year, looking at the 3 months gone ahead, the 3 months ahead. Brandon, there's been so much.
Oh my gosh, so much.
We have we have production updates. I think we decided to talk about production updates first.
Oh
So,
yeah.
uh, I mean, I think anyone who's watching this video probably knows that we've been talking a bunch about home. It's been delayed. It was then in the warehouse, and then what happened to the last 3 months is that it went to the backers finally. So, Brandon,
Mostly correct.
it, add details, add details. It went to the backers.
It went to the backers, and of course, with anytime you have a large campaign, I mean, you can always expect, some level of like mispacks or something of that sort. Well, we were dealing with some issues where some backers received two of one particular haunting tale and zero of another, so we are going back and forth trying to
Yeah.
get them the right one. um and to their credit, our warehouse has been doing their very best to help us out on every turn, um and make things right. So but it's out there. It's out there to the backers. We've had overwhelmingly positive feedback. We had it at Origins
Right.
this year. um People were raving about it. People were picking it up one day and coming to tell us that they played it that night and stuff.
That
It was crazy.
yeah, I mean, this gets into like Origins, which is one of our other topics, but like definitely
Yeah.
somebody bought it and they came back the next day to tell us that they'd played it and they'd enjoyed it. And they were like, I went to some real serious places. We didn't expect it. It would be like so emotional and like that we would all like feel stuff afterwards. And I'm like, but
Oh my gosh,
we did, and we liked it. And I was like, good for you guys. I love to hear it.
my game made me feel stuff.
Like game made me feel stuff. Um, which is good. I I know Julian and Doug will be thrilled because
Oh yeah.
that's what they want. It did. It's the game is doing its job, and it's so great. I know you've played it. You've posted pictures of you playing it.
Yeah, I just played it the other day with some kids from the youth group up at my church, and I've been gaming with these kids for years, and we played all kinds of different games, but like there were a couple of them that are really into the narrative storytelling anyway.
mm,
And we sat down and was like, okay, we're gonna play this, and they were so into it. Like, there was a point where Sarah, my wife, had to like get up and be like, nope, wow, like like she was just like, this is crazy. It was a great time. And we were just playing one of the ones, we were playing the Call of Nature from the core box,
mm,
and it was
nice.
it was awesome.
Yeah, I, I love it. I love it. That it's it's one of those things. Like a publisher, somebody pitches you a game and you're like, ooh, that'll be great. And then you start the process, right? And this one has taken a long time to get to the finish line. And so it's so nice to have it at the finish line now that like the backers have got it, like you said, overwhelmingly positive. It's been at its first convention for real. People can buy it. It was
Retailers are,
getting
are picking it up, and the people picked it up at Gamma. The retailers picked it up at Gamma
right.
just to get it out there. And even the stuff we're hearing from them was great. You know, um, yeah, and it's great to see. The when we took a risk with the Haunting Tale packs. We
As
could be
experiment.
it was an experiment. We talked to a bunch of retailers and we were like, "Hey, do you think this would work?" And we had some people say, "Hey, it'd be cool to have them in a box." We had some who were like, "Yeah, this would be great." And just hearing retailers who picked it up and stocked it, and people who are picking it up at Origins, it's cool to see. It's finally cool to see these people have it in their hands, have it in their shops, and be able to take it out and sell it to their own customers who come into their local shops. So,
Yeah, yeah. So, uh, Psychic Kids, Dice and Cards also were part of
yep,
that same shipment. So those have all gone out as well. We don't want
yep,
to miss Psychic Kids because that's another game that's been a little bit delayed in all the production process, and that's also gone out. So, but then we've got two more big updates on two other games
yeah,
in process. So,
yeah,
you're the business director. You're the one who gets to talk to the factories. So give us the
yeah.
details. What's the
Well, I'm going to take one step back, talk about Psychic Kids,
Oh
because at
yeah.
Gen Con this year we had the book. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
have the dice and cards. We didn't
Right.
have the Psychic Powers pack. We will have all that at Gen Con this year. And, at Gamehole Con, at PAX, we'll have all that
Right.
stuff, which
That
is
was what was
great.
holding up the fulfillment was
Right.
the having all the pieces and
Now we
those
got it
were
all.
it's all there and all sent. And again, like people get their stuff. Again, if you're watching this and you didn't get your stuff, please let us know
Please let
because
us know.
we could
We'll
have
make it
them send it
right.
to you. But like for the
Yep.
most part, I think we're you know missteps happen, but we get it sorted. That's how it works.
Yeah. And so to the other ones, we have Never Going Home. The three new books for Never Going Home, which were the the
Campaign
the
dossiers.
yeah, the campaign dossiers, like, right, the bile in the streets, the spit in the dirt, and
Those are
beyond
the
the
yeah.
veil. So those books are the PDFs are available on Drive Through RPG. You can go and pick
Right.
those up right now. Once the physical books are in the hands of backers, or people can pick them up, we're going to see if we can put those as print on demand for those of you who are out there in the world who would prefer to do a print on demand through Drive Through RPG like our other ones. We'll
Right.
do that. But uh, we want to make sure that people can get those first. Well, those we got word from our printer. They will be um, they will be off the printer and out of the factory on July 11th. So knock on wood, dot, dot, dot,
Knock
we
on
should have those
wood.
at Gen Con along with the Never Going Home dice and cards. Um, and we'll have our GM screens and things that you can buy directly from us. So yeah, the stuff that you all have supported for Never Going Home, that will be out there and fulfilled, right? Again, getting into the fulfillment queue for our warehouse is one thing, but it's they know it's coming. They know it's coming.
Yeah.
Um, Additionally, one of our other open projects was our first board game project, Zero Day War. In Zero Day War, if you saw our last one, I believe we showed some art, and we had some cool discussion around Zero Day War itself. That was such a whirlwind of a production. And after talking to Matthias, who was the game designer and graphic designer for that, um, board game design, board game releases, uh, they seem to go, like, by the time you get them to Kickstarter and you have them like kind of laid out, they seem to go pretty quickly. We wanted to make sure that project was one where we put it on Kickstarter, and we wanted to make sure we had the numbers of what we needed to order and manufacture. When we did, sent that to the factory, and they could just start working on it.
Right.
Uh, we got to play that at Origins with one of our retail backers. Shout out to the Golden Keep, one of our local shops as well.
Yep.
But
Yep.
it was a great time. Matt and I played it at two players. We played it with the owners of that shop at four players, so they could teach it and demo it in their shop. They had a blast. Um, it's a gorgeous game. It looks really, really good.
Right.
Matthias and Luke
We've
did an
played the
excellent job.
only copy in North America. The you
Right.
know
So that one will be, you can track the boat right now. I was doing it
Oh,
earlier today. Right now it's in the Sea of Japan, but it will be in the port of New York in on the 31st is when it is slated.
slated.
Um,
So that'll be so not available at Gen Con, uh, but you know, it's soon on that one. It'll still
yeah,
be,
not
you
but
know,
soon.
I mean, what the funding for that ended in February, so like, I mean, it's going to be shipping in, mid August probably to backers.
Yeah,
So that's that may be our, I mean, that may be our best turnaround ever, Brandon. We don't want
we'll see
can't
if
let
we can
people
beat
get
it with
used
the
to
next one.
that.
We'll see if we can beat it with our next board game because uh that one's pretty that one's coming along. It's coming
Yeah,
along.
it's
So
right. Like all the it's been in process for a long time, but the work on that one is gonna all come to fruition soon, I think.
right.
So
By the time we again, like Zero Day War, by the time that one gets to Kickstarter, we will have had all of the components kind of built where they needed to be. And it's going to be trying to figure out what we need to how many we need to produce, how many we can make it to the factory and get out there and get into retail.
right,
So that next one is going to be Herd. It's a dinosaur card game we've announced before. Absolutely gorgeous art. We've shared some of that on our Instagram and our Facebook page over the past few months, but that's going to be our next one. Our next um, board/card game. That's
right, right,
solely a card game.
right. We don't have a date officially announced for that one. We've got some ideas in mind, but I think we're keeping that till it's ready to
Yeah,
go.
till it's ready to
Um,
go. I think that's the important part.
right. Uh, and we're learning, right? I mean, I always tell people like our first game took 2 years for us to make it, and that was 2 years after the Kickstarter before we delivered it. So
Ooh,
we've never been so mismatched again. Like we're trying to move all that production time before the Kickstarter, so that
exactly.
that's sometimes we get it right and sometimes we don't. But that's the goal. The goal is to you know get it done and then fund it and ship it. You fund it and print it and ship it. Um,
Yeah, all the stuff that you all see, we have a bunch of projects that you all don't see.
that's right.
Um, I think Matthias calls them Pokemon because whenever a new project comes up on his base camp, he's like, "Oh, I got another Pokemon. What'd I catch?" You know. So
Yeah.
we
I
have a
think we've
couple
got
now. We'll have a Gen Con this year, so stay tuned to socials, and
that's
you'll see
right.
what some of these Pokemon are.
I did some
I'm
teasing. I
sorry.
did
These pocket monsters that are unique and they're
our yeah, legally distinct
they're
from
legally distinct from that other property.
um yeah, I mean, the metaphor is becoming strained. But
Hey
yeah,
man.
I mean those are the things that are in production right now. I mean the we have I mean we're still working on Garbage and Glory. The quick start came out at Free RPG Day.
Oh
Um
man, people were Matt, I hope you can put in some of the photos that people were sharing uh of
uh
their tables.
oh, I
Like
don't of their Garbage and Glory like at Free
of their
RPG
garbage
Day.
and glory tables. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know some of that was on people were sharing that on Free RPG Day. A couple were sent directly to me on the wedding box. I'll share them with you. But man, there's this one table where the guy who was running it wore like raccoon footy pajamas, and everyone else had like bandit masks. It
Oh
was
man.
it was crazy. It was great. I loved to see people enjoying that. We've shared art of the cards and
Hmm.
uh the double deck box, the magnetic deck boxes. We have that internally. We'll be sharing that soon.
Right.
But it's really cool to see this stuff come along. But that
Right.
one going
S-
through first trying to edits, and then
I don't
we'll
know if you
see.
got to see them. We should our next topic is talking about origins, but we should talk about
Yeah.
origins. But the But Sam
Origins is
Frick,
great.
the artist for Garbage and Glory, oh wow,
Oh, at that I didn't get fireworks. Weak.
you got a thumbs up. Uh, he was showing me sketches for the stretch goals, right? Like he's because everything it's all sequenced, right? So like he did the art for the cards, that's in the final layout stuff. The rules are being finalized, but then the stretch goals are in progress. And so Sam is doing art for the stretch goals. So he was showing me some of his sketches for some of the stretch goal projects that were unlocked. And of course, it's great because it's Sam Brick and he's the originator of this look of raccoons and their junk paraphernalia. And of course, it looked awesome. So as those things continue to come in, that's I guess technically in production as well, but um, it's not physical yet. So
Well,
every
that's
it,
one of those things that I personally think, like we did it with Heckin' Good Doggos with all those stretch goals. We put them into fetch quests. I think Garbage and Glory might be something that'd be cool to do. I don't know if a physical product is in the cards for that in the future.
yeah,
It's again, anytime you do something like that, there's an additional expense,
sure.
and but it'd be cool. Like we'll see how people react to it uh once it's on tables at conventions, and if people are like picking it up, then yeah, it might make
Yeah,
sense to do that.
sales drive the line.
Sales
That's what we
drive the
say.
line.
All right. So what else? We saw Sam at Origins. We went to dinner with him one night and a bunch of people. We went to our one of our favorite restaurants in Origin or in the Columbus area within walking distance of the convention center.
Right.
Um,
I was able to
uh,
summit the mountain.
yeah, you were able to summit the mountain.
I was
Congratulations.
excited.
For I think we could explain what that is, right? That's not like a secret.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Uh,
So we
it's
go
a
to this restaurant
restaurant,
called Pierogi Mountain,
Pierogi
and
Mountain,
it's pierogies.
and the front side of the menu is like all the different specialty pierogies they have that day, and I'm sure that menu changes weekly, you
Yeah,
know. But to summit the mountain is to order one of each of the specialty pierogies and then eat them all.
yeah.
And
It was a shorter mountain than it was in years past. It was only
it
7 as opposed to 10, but
it was
I'll
7.
take it.
Right.
Victory's a victory, man.
Right. And the waiter that was hearing us discuss this summiting the mountain process, he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you guys don't have any idea. Like the legend who ate 33 pierogies lives on." Like,
Oh yeah,
and yeah,
man. Oh,
that's a monstrous amount of pierogies.
it's a monstrous amount of pierogies. I
I
don't eat. Even I am intimidated by 33 pierogies.
oh yeah. And I don't know. I mean, we don't need to keep talking about Pierogi Mountain. Like we talk about it
I mean, I could talk
plenty
about pierogies
probably.
for about 4 days.
It's currently my Discord avatar is myself at Pierogi Mountain. Uh, it's it's just it's it's like a little side part of our brand, I think.
It's so good.
Um, what else do we want to say about Origins? Yeah, I
Origins
think
was great.
Origins was great.
Origins was great this year. It was good vibes. I think Gamma said there was about 10% increase in attendance, and you know, uh, it felt like it, right?
Yeah,
Like the hall was bigger. Like it felt. I know we said last time. I think last year Origins felt like it was back, but now I'm like, oh no, now it's growing. Now Origins is finding its stride,
yeah.
right?
I don't know the numbers, whether it's back purely based on numbers, but there was definitely a cohesive feel to the con this year.
Yeah,
For those of you who didn't go, they had like in the exhibit hall, they usually just have all the exhibitors, right? And the aisles are going, one way and the other, and you see all the booths. But this year they put in events into the exhibit hall. So they had
yeah,
some signings with some game designers and
and special
Jonathan
guests.
Bolton, famous nerd, was there to get stuff signed. And they had a paint and take area that was a bunch of tables set off just within
Yep,
the exhibit hall. So I think it increased traffic in the exhibit hall to have those events in the exhibit hall rather than somewhere else
somewhere else.
outside the exhibit hall. And
It
so
was. It felt great. that
Yeah.
I thought I didn't know how that was going to go, but it felt really, really good.
And they repeated the artist avenue from the year before. All the artists, all a bunch of the artists got in caps all down one section of the exhibit hall. So, if you were there looking for art, there's just one artist after another that
Oh my
was
gosh, he was
doing
lousy with art, so it was
doing great
great.
work.
Like just you couldn't throw a stone and not hit an awesome artist. So
Yeah, don't throw stones in the exhibit hall, but also if you did, yeah,
yeah,
you'd be likely to hit an
so,
artist.
yeah, it was a good show. It was a good show. I can't wait to go back. We've already booked our booth for next year, so you'll see Wet Ink Games, and we'll have hopefully, you know, 4 or 5 new
Gosh.
products. Oh,
Oh, yeah. I mean,
just keep them
product,
coming.
keep them coming. Keep them coming. I got a long drive, right?
Yeah, keep them coming. I got a long drive.
Uh, Great. I mean, what is the? I mean, we always do a little breakdown after. We don't have to repeat our little breakdown, but we always do our little breakdown.
Yeah.
Uh, it's like always, and I feel like we must have said this earlier in the year, or well, this is the first year we've done these quarterly videos. So like, I'll say it
Yep.
for the first time that like, I mean, we always do like, what was the best point and what was the things we can improve on for next time kind of thing. And it's almost always the people, right? For me, I'm always in some way, it's almost always the people that I meet. Like I do love to sell the games and I do love to play the
Sure.
games, but it's not just the games. It's always like, no, I got to play the game with this person, or I got to spend time at dinner with this person who I've worked with before, but not shared a meal with before. Or it's the
Right.
time where, this person was there and, uh, they, they gave out hugs, right? And I hadn't seen them and then there they were. And so, it's almost always the people. And the big thing that I had a lot of fun with this year at Origins was I recorded a bunch of game jams, which if you're watching this video, it's like the last week days when they all posted. So you know,
Yeah.
in the Wet Ink Games YouTube channel is when these game jams, these 15-minute game jams that I've been doing since last year. Um, this is now like the first ones I did were at Gen Con last year, and so I've done it for like a year now because Gen Con is now almost 1 year since I started doing this. Um, but I got to do with um uh uh, Robert Turk, who I've been playtesting his game that's forthcoming for like the last 2 months, 3 months. And so then we got to sit down together, not separated by the internet and like make a game together, which was a silly game. Of course it was because it was Robert and I. And I got to do that with Lucas Sellers, he's working on Precious Things, which is going to be forthcoming from Wet Ink, and Kat Dreyer, who I met at Gamma Expo in March. We've been hanging out on the internet, being in each other's content for months now. And so we got to sit down again in person and make a game together. And then lastly in the list, last but not least, of course, is Jess Geyer. I got to game jam with her. She's a riot, and that game, like all of these games, I don't know if any of these games are good, but there's so much fun to create and have those. Um, uh, you know, you're making it 15 minutes, and it is what it is, and there's a freedom of no holds barred and that kind of thing, where like you reach a point where you're like, oh, this might be bad, and it's like too late. We spent 9 minutes on it. Like we got to finish it now.
Yeah, you got to lean into it.
You got to lean into it, and those videos really capture a lot of the good vibes. Like you said, it was such a good vibes con, and I think in those videos you can see how much fun we're having, and that's partly just the con energy, partly the off-camera relationships that I have with all the people that I game jammed with, and but
Right.
then also it's just that game design energy of like, let's make something, and then you record it, and uh
Right.
so you can share the experience, right? So
Yeah.
it's that
It's
was it's great for me. It's always the people, but that was the thing this year. It was so fun to do those game jams.
yeah. Uh I I thought those were fantastic. I got to watch the one with you and Jess before it was edited and anything. And uh man, sorry.
You're good.
Um yeah, it was great being able to watch that. Um and we get to see people that we haven't really seen in since the last con that we went to, right? You know. Um all in all, I think it was fantastic. I got to be in an actual play for
That's right.
Shadow Dark, which I hadn't been in. I hadn't played, and I hadn't been in an actual play in a long time, which is great. Um, so
To be like a special guest kind of treatment, right? Like,
yeah, it was real fun. I got to play with like Chris O'Neill and artist John Kovalik, who did Munchkin and Dork Tower and all that stuff. He was a very, very friendly guy. And yeah, to sit down and play with like the person who created Shadow Dark was cool. And she was an absolute riot. We just had a great time. And being able to go um and see some of the new things that other
hmm,
creators were working on. It's we've sometimes we're so nose down in the stuff that we're making and working on that you know it can be real easy to slip into a kind of like um put your blinders on and you're just focused on what you're doing and you don't
yeah,
really see what's going on in the industry, right? And it's cool to see some of the other things that are out there. um and so I think
yeah. We
the
we were right behind IPR, so I definitely spent
yeah,
some time over there checking out like the new
go
stuff,
around the corner,
like
right?
in the indie space, you know.
Yeah. And being able to hang out with the IPR crew. Jason from IPR was we got to hang out with him the first night, and
Yeah,
Jason's been a good partner for Went Inc. for a long time, and it was
absolutely.
great to be able to sit and hang out with him. And we got to play test a game, and it was so much fun to just hang out. Um and I got to see um Ed Burrell from Skeleton Key Games, who he makes these awesome spell scrolls. It's one of my favorite things to pick up. Every single time I see him, I pick up a couple spell scrolls, either for me or for friends. And um, they're great pieces of art. He's a wonderful creative talent and one of the nicest guys ever. So it's like it's always cool just to see people that you haven't seen in a while and just keep on keeping on. One thing I do want to point out though, Matt, I don't know if you saw the announcement today, but
Uh,
you last year, I believe it was after the Ennies, you went and you played the prototype version of Home
yeah.
with like Richard Ruane of Midnight on Roseville Beach and Bridget Jeffries from Symphony Entertainment and all that. Well,
Uh, yeah, a couple other guys, Andrew and Alan. Alan does he's Australian. He does like movie prop fan memorabilia type stuff. And
awesome.
Andrew is he's a game designer and so yeah,
Well,
he's
so I saw that Bridget
yeah,
Jeffries was announced as the host of the Ennies this year.
I did
So,
see that announcement and
which is going to be great.
yeah,
She's
more power to her.
more power to
She's
her.
gonna crush it.
She's going to crush it. She was like, I hope they turn down my mic because it's going to be loud.
That sounds like some she's I mean, she was accepting awards on other people's behalf like all last year. So like they might as well
Yeah,
just let her run the show.
absolutely. She'll do a great job. Love it.
Yep. So happy for her. Look,
Yep.
even more reason to be looking forward to Gen Con.
Yep. So, got a lot of stuff going
Yeah.
on.
Anything else about Origins we want to talk about? Like,
Oh man. Well, no, I mean,
is there any,
Columbus
I mean,
Columbus continues to be an awesome city.
right,
It was a billion degrees. But for the most part, we were inside, so
right. And it rained on the last day, as it often does.
as it often does. But you know, in the grand scheme of things, we had a great time. We had a great crew, and
Right.
we'll
We did
we
have a
will
great crew.
continue to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's great to be at that place where, that's sort of like, I don't know. I always people it's so conveniently located. We're in here in Louisville and like it's just not that far away, and then the same for Gen Con. It's like I feel spoiled.
Yeah,
But it's because other people are coming from, Vancouver and the Carolinas and the UK to like go to
Sure,
these events, and it's like it's 3 hours away, which is like I'm solidly Midwestern. 3 hours away is nothing at all. That's
sure.
You go 3 hours away for lunch if you really want to.
If you really want to.
Uh,
All right. So
uh,
we're going to pierogies. That's what I heard.
you want to? That could be a thing. That could
It
just
could be
like
a thing.
Brandon, you want to go get lunch at Prairie Mountain today? Like we'll have to go.
I do. I do. I want to do that.
Right. Well, as long as we start in time, we can get there. Um, yeah, Origins is great. Looking forward to it again next year. And I don't know. We could talk about the stuff we had on the table, but we've kind of already have. We already talked about Zero Day War, the production sample, had
Yep.
Shang-Chi in the corner. Like we're getting ready to promote that. Coming the reprint, had
Yep.
the new home stuff, the Garbage and Glory free quick start,
I mean, I don't want
all
you
of
to
our
bury
plus
the
one
lead
stuff.
there.
Hmm?
I don't want you to bury the lead there with Zhang because it's
I mean,
uh
we've
like you
announced it
said,
before, but we
it's
could.
going into reprint, but we're gonna have additional adventures, additional material, and all of that. We're working on promoting that and building the page right now. Should go live on July 23rd,
That's the
and
date that we've declared. That's the date
so
that we've declared.
it will be live during Gen Con,
Right.
and yeah, so it'll be great.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're planning to reprint the game at the same production, the same production values that it had in the first time around. That's for
Yep.
everyone who missed it the first time around or hasn't gotten it or has been waiting to get it for whatever reason. Like, we want copies to be there for those people. And then for
Right.
everyone who has gotten it and enjoyed it, we're working with another great team of people. Banana and Sen put together the list. And I contacted some other people that I know, and so we made the list bigger and longer. And it's
Oh
just
yeah.
so much talent producing a new set of adventures scenarios for the game. So that's like Brandon said, those are all in progress. There's nothing really to show for it, but Steven is on for more art. We've got it'll be it'll hopefully match with the other original scenario book from the original production. That's the intention, right? That it
Yeah.
will line up. If you were to put them on a shelf, they would go together. But that's the goal.
Yep.
So for everyone who's already got it, you can get more.
You can get more. It'll be great.
If you like it, there's more coming. Um, yeah, and I'm sure we'll be continuing to talk about that over the next like you said, I mean, we're weeks away from the launch, and then it'll run for a month, and so you'll hear about it nonstop. And on, I'm sure Banana Chan will also be talking about it on her channels. So
And so
that's
yep,
how it goes.
that's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
So
Uh, and then so we already talked about home a bit. We can skip that item. What do you want? Do you want to talk about other you talked about Herd that's coming up. So we got another thing that we kind of soft announced at Origins that I think we want to announce more officially now. One other project that we have that's not another project that not has not have a date, but it is something that is in the works.
oh yeah.
Um,
Speaking of Jess,
right, exactly. Jess Geyer of Wannabe Games uh, pitched this game, and uh, we initially said no, and then we thought about it, and everybody thought about it, and then we got the opportunity to say yes a little bit later in the year. So
yeah.
we are producing a game written by Jess, designed by Jess, which will be called Beach Episode, which is the idea is that it'll be join our system agnostic sourcebook line, along with Into the Weird and Wild and Into the Cessan Citadel, a thing that you can get this book, Beach Episode, and put it into any other game that you're playing. and your characters, or well, not the characters who are in the campaign, will go to the beach for a period, an episode, the length of an episode, whatever that is for the game you're playing. And
Right.
it's a scene, it's a change of scene, it's relaxation, there's beach fun, there's beach distractions, there's
Souvenirs.
souvenirs you can buy, what swimsuit will you wear, all that sort of stuff that makes a beach episode fun. I personally want to make sure that there's like abstract rules for playing volleyball, so that no matter what system you're using, you can roll some dice or draw some cards and have a little volleyball game. Um, but all of that is the extras. The real thing that it is the reason you take the break away from the plot is so that you can deal with the interpersonal drama that has been building throughout the campaign.
Right.
Who doesn't like who's going to get together with who? Are you finally going to, air your grievances? Are you going to make up your grievances that you've been not talking for weeks? All of
Right.
those sort of things that can happen in a group of characters, right? All the tensions, all the releases, they all can be placed, and they all happen at the beach, because you're not
I
fighting the big bad, or you're taking a break from fighting the big bad, or you're resting after you fought the big guy, or whatever.
I love the entire like callback to like 80s and 90s, afternoon television, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, obviously go every one of those shows had a beach episode, right?
Sure.
Every one did something, right? And some of them are doing exactly what you're talking about, Matt. And then there's others that, like, oh, you meet this NPC and you do this other thing, and here's this plot point, and they never talk about it again. And I'm like, why? And I love the fact that you can like insert some of that stuff and it can be great. And then like, all right, cool, see you next Tuesday or whatever. And then you come back and people are like, all right, now you go on your adventure, and people are like, wait, what about that? And you're like, nope, nope, keep going.
Well,
Right?
but that's what we're talking about, the souvenirs, where it's like, oh, I
Right.
bought this straw hat at the
Exactly.
beach, and then like now I'm wearing a straw hat in the next time we gather,
Right.
and
It's
you know
it's
it's
that
got
that
it's got some
interplay.
sort of mechanical effect that will come
Oh,
into play at some point in the future, right? And it's like, when do you give up the souvenir? When do you get that bonus that you then, has a game effect later? So this is a game which is in development, right? There's big ideas. There's great. The skeleton is created, but there's a lot of details to work out. But that's something that we've officially announced now, um, and you know we'll be working
and
with
Jess
Jess
knows what she
Geyer. Oh yeah, absolutely. Jess knows what she's doing, and I don't think I'm misspeaking to say that, as I said already once in this call, like sales drive the line. Like if this is successful, there's lots of other special episodes that could be done.
There's
Um,
lots of other special episodes. That's right.
each with their own costume changes and plot focuses, and so if this is, you know, this is we're starting with this one because it's a very exciting option. But
I'm not gonna lie. One of my absolute favorite Final Fantasy games was terrible. But that was one of the things that they did. It was Final Fantasy X2, and it was like, I'm gonna change my outfit, and it would change your class or whatever. It was like I loved it. Thought it was a great mechanic.
yeah, I mean,
But
that's
anyway,
great.
yeah. But so I'm
I,
like, yeah, cool.
I think Final Fantasy V has that in a little bit too. Um,
Anyway, so yeah,
so
look forward to that. And we have a couple other things that we'll be announcing at Gen Con as
yeah.
we move forward. Some of which are if you've been following wedding games for a while, you've probably asked for one of these. So
Right. We've got, I don't know, it's almost like, I don't want to be like, I don't want to get a big head about it, but like we've got a lot of projects that we've said yes to. So we've lined up a lot of things to be working on over the next, like, amount of
yeah, yeah.
time, and uh
X
it's
amount of time. It's a
it's
variable.
great. It's great to have so many exciting projects. And this one's out there, beach episode. um all of them, right? Like finishing Garbage and Glory, Shang-Chi second printing with new writers and the old writers and like it's just exciting. The beach episode, right? It is. And then the other ones that we're not announcing yet, like that we know that they're coming. Like it's in development. And Herd is going to be, like Brandon said, so gorgeous and such a
So,
neat game. I don't think we mentioned Sam Knowlton, the designer, but
oh yeah,
she's put together a really cool game, and we're very excited to be bringing that to fruition. So again, all of these things are, I, I don't know, development takes as long as it takes, right? And we didn't even mention Fast Cars and Family. We had that's something from
oh,
Origins. We met with some of the designers of Fast Cars and Family at Origins and did some discussion. There's been multiple development meetings since that discussion. So again, another project which is going to be ready sometime. It'll be ready when it's ready, and then we'll promote it and do it. But again,
oh yeah.
um,
And that one, again, it's the cover is great, the theme is great, the mechanics are coming along really, really well. It's, there's a lot of passion and energy behind that. Uh, there's a lot of fuel back there, man.
woo woo.
Yeah, so it's gonna be great. I
Yeah,
I'm very excited about Fast Cars and Family as someone who likes movies about cars that go fast
yeah,
with very little actual plot.
right.
I mean, there's plot. I'm
There's
I'm
plot.
I'm not
I mean,
gonna say there's
all
not.
kinds of stuff happens. There's all kinds of plot in
Right,
those movies.
right. There's 20 minutes of plot. It's just enough. It's just enough to keep me going.
Just enough. All right.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I know that we've talked about a lot of that stuff. By the time we do the next one of these, it'll be
gosh, it'll be
it'll be after Gen
October.
Con. We'll be prepping for Game
Game
Folk.
Con. Yeah.
So we'll be we should, I mean, be giving updates on some of the things that you've already heard, and we'll be talking about some of these projects and where the ones that we've talked about and where those stand, and we'll be able to talk about the things that we've announced at Gen Con.
Yeah. Right. I mean, there's always that's we're at a good place. We have lots of projects on the horizon. Finish one, start the next. That's kind of how we're doing it right now. So,
Hey Matt, did I tell you about this art book I got?
uh,
It's a really cool art book.
oh, I
Yeah,
you did mention that you got that art book.
it's a really cool art book. So I'm gonna leave that there, but it's a cool art book.
What a
I'll show you more of that art book later.
No, no, no. I I I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it.
Gosh, it's really cool. Actually, not gonna lie, it might be one of the best art books I've ever seen. Like
Wow.
from as it is made and built. So it's really
Nice.
cool.
Nice. All right. Well, I think we talked about all the stuff that I wrote down that we should talk about. So if there's anything
Yeah.
else that you want to talk about, like this in our quarterly start of Q3 report to the fans, to the backers, to the industry peers, what else? Anything else you want to say?
Oh man. Keep on keeping on, everybody. There's you know, summer, go outside, touch some grass,
Mm,
enjoy your time. Um, you know, also roll some dice and tell some stories and play some games.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's great. That's great. Uh, Gosh, now having set it up, like, what do I have? I guess one other thing, like, kind of in the newsy area, but it's wider industry, sort of. I'll say that at the time of recording,
Like
uh,
newsies, like
what?
newsies, like gotta go sell some papes.
I am not talking about Newsies.
Oh, okay. I was like, sorry,
Did I say Newsies?
you said in the newsy space, and I was like, what?
I don't think that's what I said. But anyway, the point is I have news that I didn't say before. The news is at the time of this recording yesterday, the first video of the IGDN Summer Series was posted,
Oh
and
yeah.
there are there's a whole summer planned, right? Of videos. These are they're coming to you. The theme this year is Gaming Beyond, which is ga- games most of the time are going to be you playing with your friends at a table. That's going to be the majority of games, right? But what is beyond that? Like, what other things can games do? What other things can games be used for? What other contexts can games happen in? So, a bunch of different members from the IGDN, the Indie Game Developers Network, of which Brandon and I are members, uh, assembled panels, and they're the first one was posted. So they're posting throughout the summer. The Game Designer, the Indie Game Designer Network Summer Series on their YouTube channel is a whole series of these videos, and I was a panelist on one of them, so I'm excited about that one to see it out there. I know lots of other people have shared their wisdom, so um, my message to the designer community, whoever, to the extent that any of those people watch this our quarterly reports, go enjoy that summer series, and check in on some of the other things that your peers are doing, because there's a lot of voices there in this design space, and they're talking about the cool stuff that they're doing with games beyond just games with friends at the table. So uh, that's my little plug. And keep making games, I guess,
Yeah,
keep making games,
keep it up.
keep playing games, keep playing games, keep making games. That's yeah, it's great.
Come see us at Gen Con.
That's right.
If you're out there, we're gonna be in 59.
2659 is our number. So
Yep.
down there, almost all the way down the hall, or not very far down the hall if you're coming from the other direction.
You
So,
come from the other direction, right?
works out.
We're we're there with a lot of the other RPG companies, but if you're used to be us being in the 1 to 500s, we are on the other side this year.
We were in the 12s one year. It's been a couple years ago. We
Oh,
were in
that's
the
right. We were.
12s.
We were.
So we've been all over. But 2659 this year. So all right. Well, that's coming in a month. The next one of these is coming in 3 months. Brandon, thank you so much for your time tonight talking to me about
Yeah.
all our stuff.
I love
We're
it.
we're we're on our, and I must say you look pretty good. You're in your like trucker phase, I guess.
Oh man.
I don't know what
I
this new look is about, but it's very,
this is my I don't want to cut my beard, and so I don't. And
so you
I
don't.
got this hat that says pterodactyls on it because
It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome.
right, the pterodactyls.
It's got pterodactyls on it. You can't deny it.
Right. I'm sorry,
Uh,
pterodactyls.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Pter.
Yeah, right. Pterodactyls. Uh,
So yeah, I
all
like the
right.
hat.
It's a great hat. All right. So that's it for me. I've been Matthew Orr from Wedding Games, talking to Brandon Ayton,
From
also
Winning
from Wedding
Games.
Games. Uh,
Yeah. Lasers. I, I'm so easily amused,
so epic.
especially sick.
So epic. All right. Well, thank you for your time tonight, especially being sick. We'll get this out to the people. They can enjoy our antics. Those of you who enjoy our antics, thank you for watching. And I don't
And
know.
if you don't enjoy our antics, too bad.
Yeah, don't tell us about it. If you don't enjoy our antics, don't tell us about it. All right. That's all from us for now.
All
Bye bye.
right. Bye.